Hi, everybody. I am Inez Schaechterle. I teach English at the Holbrook campus, PDC, for the college. And staff and faculty have been asked to create some short videos with thoughts and advice about studying at home and dealing with this crazy time that we are all dealing with. I'm sorry if you can hear my bird in the background. He has a lot to say these days. And so what I want to talk about is, I know you're home. I know you're feeling pressured. I know you're caring for yourself. I know you're caring for family members. Might be having a hard time getting supplies like toilet paper and hand sanitizer. And you're worried about school. And I know that there's a lot of good advice out there in these other videos and online and from your friends and family. So I'm going to give you another little piece of advice. In the time that you can find, try to make some art. And I don't mean it doesn't have to be big, fancy, willing to show everybody art. Just be a little creative. It's a form of self-care that we often skip because it seems sort of selfish. And it doesn't have to take a lot of time. Some people draw, some people paint, some people make stuff out of other stuff, little sculptures, things with found objects. Some people sing, some people play an instrument. That is definitely not me. You do not want to hear me do either one. Some people do crafts. Any and all of that, any act of creation that you can fit in at this time is going to be good for you in the long run. So first off, I just want to share a couple of mine. I'm doing this just on my phone with very low tech, so I'm sorry if it's kind of jiggly. I have a spinning wheel, and I have started spinning up some yarn. Here it is, nice and colorful. It comes out of this fluff, which came to me pre-dyed. I guess it's not terribly creative to make it into yarn, but it's very relaxing. And then later, from now, maybe years from now, I'll knit or weave something from this yarn and know that I made it during this time. And speaking of knitting, I'm also working on a hat for a friend of mine. It's got a little pattern here you might be able to see. Maybe, there we go. Maybe not. And that's very relaxing. And it doesn't take a lot of time. So I can work on getting my classes ready to go online. I can work on taking care of my more animals than any sane woman needs to have. I can exercise, cook, whatever, and still get in a little bit of creative time. In that vein, I want to share with you two poems that I have found, well, one that's new to me, and I found it very comforting during this time. I sent it to a few of my students, but now I want to share it with all of you. It's by a poet named John O'Donohue. I'm just going to read it over here on my computer screen. It's, as far as I can tell, untitled, or titled by the first line. But I think it has a lot to say for what we're doing right now. This is the time to be slow. Lie low to the wall until the bitter weather passes. Try as best you can not to let the wire brush of doubt scrape from your heart all sense of yourself and your hesitant light. If you remain generous, time will come good, and you will find your feet again on fresh pastures of promise, where the air will be kind and blushed with beginning. I like that lie low, which is what we're certainly all doing now. Generosity, which we all need to both give and receive. Sometimes it's hard to receive other people helping us. And one lesson I've learned in my life when I've gone through some pretty serious trials and wanted to be super independent is that letting people be generous to you is not just about you, it's about them. You need to receive, but people also need to be able to give. So you're doing them a service when you allow them to help you. Just a little bit of Schaechterle wisdom there for you. The next poem that I want to read, it's the last one, is a very well-known poem by Wendell Berry. One thing that we're talking about with all this shelter in place, stay home, distance yourself, and all of that's very restrictive. But there's no rule saying that we can't get out and enjoy nature. Just stay 6 feet away from anybody else enjoying nature. So this is a poem by Wendell talking about dealing with tough times by encountering nature, and it's called The Peace of Wild Things. When despair for the world grows in me, and I wake in the night at the least sound, in fear of what my life and my children's lives may be, I go and lie down where the wood drake rests in his beauty on the water, and the great heron feeds. I come into the peace of wild things who do not tax their lives with forethought of grief. I come into the presence of still water, and I feel above me the day-blind stars waiting with their light. For a time, I rest in the grace of the world and am free. I like the idea, too. It has a sort of later blossoming idea, like the first poem. The stars that we can't see during the day are still there, and they will come for us and show us light at night, of course. And metaphorically, when this pandemic is over and life returns to something akin to normalcy. The thing about The Peace of Wild Things is that Wendell lives in sort of the Middle East coast, Virginia, Ohio, Kentucky, and the images there of all the water and the ducks and the herons, and that's very much imagery of the nature in that place. And we live in our beautiful desert. So maybe if you're wondering what you might create during this time, you could write a poem or a song or a drawing or something that looks at the peace of wild things in where we live in the desert. And if you were to do that, I, for one, would love to see it. You could always email me. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to each other. Take a little time to be creative, and we will get through this. Bye.